recap, we'll not only cover our classes on the 13th of March, which were our Monday classes, where we held our lunchtime class, then our evening beginners and intermediates class, but also our blues tango fusion workshop on the 11th in Machen. So we're going to start off, actually we're not going to have much of a Monday lunchtime class. We were really working on lots of people's individual technique for posture, moving about and walking. So
and breaking in a new pair of shoes.
And breaking in a new pair of shoes as well. So lots of stuff about tango posture, about being relaxed, not putting strain on your lower back. We know some teachers like to try and teach putting your shoulders up and hunching yourself up. Recipe for a bad back.
Relax.
Be relaxed and try and find something that actually makes you feel comfortable.
And another key thing, if there's a difference in height between the leader and the follower, rather than the leader coming over the follower, which is really, really unpleasant for the follower, we just move the embrace, just dropping it down or bringing it up to compensate for that.
In our evening class, we basically did a lot of ochos. Alison wasn't teaching, she was ill, so
I
had Tara with me. So we started off with some unison front ochos, so we were stepping to the side, and I was pivoting my follower backwards, but I was also stepping outside as well, so she was going back onto it, and then pivoting around. So we ended up with unison forward ocho with back ocho. So we talked about the technique of arching the foot around, twisting the chest, bringing that feet together to pivot. We then did something that was, well, it is very difficult for leaders, which is making this go backwards. So we started off with the same way, pausing here, and then allowing leaders to do back ochos while the followers do forward ochos. Back ochos are hard enough when you're following.
Yes.
When your leader's doing it, you haven't even got the usual little cheats of how that followers have, like being balanced on the leader giving them helping them with their pivot. It's surprisingly tricky. It's probably a reason why you never see any leaders do it. Well,
good time go out there.
Yeah. Well, you see me do it, but I'm really good. So anyway,
what else did you do then?
we then made it a little bit simpler for the leaders as we allowed the followers to do some rouleaus. So what we were doing was just leading some normal basic ochos. So if I was taking my follower across myself, she was drawing a small circle on the floor, which we described as Tara described as a lunch plate. Then we just talked about just a small plate. Because it depends on what size lunch you have otherwise. And as she does that little circle, pivoting, allow that little leg to come up and flick at the end before stepping out, and she can do this on either side. So in the exercise, we were getting people to do them on both sides. In dancing, you want to use these more sparingly.
Not every time.
We also talked about if the leader if the leader's not given the time to the followers to decorate, she can actually sink into that standing leg to pin herself down, which indicates to the leader she wants to do something and decorate. So a lot of stuff for the followers there. Finally, we ended up with some sort of it's called the mountain. I can never remember how to pronounce it. Montana, that's it. From this, where if the follower is decorating, we can bring the chest up, bring it in, that leg goes up, and we can lean her in and back to us. So that was our evening class. We'll also cover our Tango Fusion workshop, or Tango Blues Fusion, which was actually quite a lot about tango technique. So we started off with a bit of back ochos. We also talked about the similarities between blues and tango in terms of the history, the attitudes towards tango and blues in the modern era, and like what people think, and like the distortions in the history and mythos and all this sort of ideas, and how it's very difficult to really know what something was traditionally because it's changed over time and has continued to evolve. We talked a bit about blues being relaxed and having these drag steps, fish tails, and you can see a lot of this in our other videos. But just the freedom of it, and also being able to lead visually and by different points of contact, which actually took us into contact tango as well. But what we also finished off with was being able to do a back ocho, leading her around, and as a leader, stepping around. So this is almost like a saltada. We can go into blues from here, so this is a nice fusion point. We pick up the tango. Or if you wanted to just sort of do some tango but take an element of blues to actually progress your tango, what we ended up doing was seeing if I can now lead her with tango technique while she is behind my back, and then we pick her up. We can also do heroes and stuff like that. So thank you everybody who came to our Machen workshop. It's great to see Cardiff dancers progressing so well with all this sort of stuff. And thank you to everybody else who travelled from Cheltenham, Gloucester, Swansea for coming as well. And thank you for those all bought shoes too.
Yes, yes.
It means we have more space in the car to come around. See you again soon. Thank you for watching this Urban Tango Nights recap. If you like these videos, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the logo. You can find more of our class summaries down here and other videos of us dancing tango over here. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Meetup. Links are in the description below. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter using the link below.